Here is the final project for this course. You are going to use the plethora of data that you have accumulated over the course of this entire semester in order to create a case study that gives an overview of the learning journey both of your student and yourself as a professional. I want you, these are the directions straight from the syllabus. I want you now to go with me to Moodle. If you go to the assignment section of Moodle at the very bottom, you will see the final case study project submission site, a direct link to MoveNote, and MoveNote is a wonderful system if you've not used it before. You create a free account, upload PowerPoint slides, and for this project I would say try to stick between 10 and 12 slides because otherwise you are going to have some possible difficulties uploading too large of a PowerPoint. So you upload your PowerPoint and then you use your webcam to simultaneously create a video of yourself presenting from the slides. And so once you're done, you've got one cohesive video that shows you speaking to each one of your slides. It's a really wonderful program, and you just need to go ahead and follow that link. And if you've never used the program before, once you set up your account, they provide wonderful brief how-to videos to get you started on your way. There's also this checklist for case study artifacts, which I'll go over in a moment. First, if you click on the final project section, you will see a screen that looks like this. And on this screen you see again basically the same directions you saw from the syllabus. As you are gathering your case study artifacts together, you need to include the following. What were the needs of the participant as you discovered through the assessments that you conducted and the observations you conducted this semester? Remember too, what is your recommendation for future instruction with this student? Our assessments do no good for us if we don't use them to inform our future practice and change and modify in response to the student's needs. Relevant information from the IEP should be included. However, the IEP itself, the whole document, should not be used because that was its own separate project. So you will be highlighting key information from the IEP, perhaps even showing part of a goal page or just the goal itself that you developed, maybe the accommodations or modifications. Depends on what's going to help you best tell the overall story of your student's learning journey this semester, as well as what you learned as a professional. Evaluate the student. How are they doing towards their IEP goals? Would you change or modify anything based on what you now know? And in general, if you were broadening this student's IEP, what academic, social, and life skill goals might you recommend? So does this student need help with self-organization, self-management, reliance, esteem, awareness? What would be an additional way to further boost this student's skills in the area of reading and writing? As always, do not use the participant's real name or any identifying information. Make sure that you also preface your video with a note, a brief side note that names have been changed to protect the identity of students. Once you're done, the MoveNote will ask you if you want to share it with anyone. So please share your final draft with krishana.white@gmail.com. MoveNote shares best through Gmail, so please use my Gmail account. If you look over the rubric, you will see there are some fine differences between the 20 and 15 point categories, so I urge you to compare and contrast those very carefully. First, you need more than 5 artifacts, including the anecdotal records, the reading assessment that you conducted, the lesson plan that you created this week. Now, when it says IEP, the IEP itself, the whole document, is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for key components, perhaps one page of the document that you really wanted to most especially speak to. And then any additional items which show a strong picture of the student's learning. Here you've only got 3 to 4 artifacts, whereas the full 20 points is greater than 5. In your reflection, you are strongly telling the student's story. You're reflecting on their strengths, their needs, specific learning behaviors that informed your practice, some of the interactions you had with the student that meaningfully impacted your practice. An overview of certain lessons that you taught. Not every single lesson. I'm not looking for a blow-by-blow account of every single time you went and worked with this student. I'm looking for overall ideas from the beginning, middle, and end of this experience. What changes did you note over time? And then summarize your own personal learning. Okay, now if you look over here, your reflection for 20 points, now this is 10 points in between these two categories, so really make sure you hit all of these in a quality manner. Now here for a 20-point category, you were informative, you talked about strengths and needs, and maybe some of the lessons you taught, but you left out many of the criteria over here. So please really look at that and elaborate upon those areas. Literacy development. Do the artifacts and the reflection together combine to show that you have a deep understanding of the student's literacy development and the implications? This semester, frequently people have left this out. Do not forget that you must tell me about the implications for future curriculum, instruction, and assessment based on what you're seeing and knowing and learning about this student. What would you do in future to help them better meet their IEP goals? And then also value the students' learning, their diverse aspects of their learning journey, whether that's through their specific learning disability, their cultural background, their socioeconomic status. You need to be building the whole picture. Then, the difference between these two categories is the fact that you've got a strong understanding, but you're not really looking at curriculum, instruction, and assessment. You just give some generic implications for future practice and sort of recognize some of the diverse ways this student is learning. Then relevance. Your case study needs to be extremely relevant to the course material, and this is where you will tie your textbook knowledge in. What have you learned through your readings and through our sessions together about specialized reading and writing interventions that could really help this student? Maybe it's one of the programs that we learned about that you think could really boost this student's understanding because of the methodology that's used in that particular reading program. Perhaps there's a reading fluency measure that we read about or learned about through the articles or the textbook that you really wanted to try with this student. You need to be making those connections between the reading and writing instructional, some of those IRIS modules even, would be fantastic resources to reference as you're constructing ideas about the student's needs. And then lastly, how professional is your move note? There should be no error in mechanics, especially since this is not a paper. These are condensed slides. Please do not put your whole presentation on a slide. It should not be a narrative on slide form. You should have key bulleted points that you can speak to round out the whole scenario. 10 to 12 quality slides. You may even take screenshots of some of your artifacts and put, the artifact on one side of the slide and a couple key bullet points on the other portion of that same slide to conserve space and make sure that your images are not too large when you're uploading them into the MoveNote program. Another thing I like to do is create side-by-side two different windows open, that the one side would be my MoveNote presentation with the slides appearing and the video, and the other window that's open is usually an outline of notes that I want to speak to. I don't want you sounding like you're just reading the script to me, but I want you to be engaged, and I want you to have some reminders to the side. I don't need to see them, but it'll help you more professionally engaged with the information that you are presenting, so that it's interesting and relevant and professional. If you have questions about that, let me know. The final thing I want to go over is the fact that sometimes it's hard to pull everything out of the rubric and the directions. So here I've made a checklist of materials that you need to include, like some highlights of the literacy interview. These are highlights, and perhaps screenshots of portions of these artifacts, okay? You're going to have the IEP, not the actual IEP, not the whole thing, but key portions or portions of the IEP that you need to speak to develop the whole picture for this student. And then also any additional items. These are not required, but sometimes in order to make it to that more than 5 artifact point, we need some of these, and so if you have them, it might behoove you to use them. There's running records, maybe a comprehension completion sheet, a video or audio clip of the student. They're all optional, okay? Just some ideas to get you started if you're struggling for more than 5 artifacts. Okay? As always, if you have any questions, let me know. And thank you for working so hard this semester. Keep on hanging in there. We've just got about 2 more weeks to go, and you can do it.